any gun owner, shoot your gun, train.
It's the best thing you can do. It's like guns and boats, right?
Yeah, that's it.
You know, leave your boat sitting in the garage for 6 years. Guess what? It's not going to start.
Absolutely.
I'm Ryan Gresham, and this is Gun Talk Nation. This Gun Talk Nation brought to you by Smith & Wesson, Range Ready, Ruger, Vortex, and Wheeler. All right, welcome into Gun Talk Nation. Today on Gun Talk Nation, we're going to talk fancy guns. Fancy guns, the guns that'll make you look good on the gram. And if you don't know what the gram is, I love you. You're not assimilating to the Borg. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Jay Duncan, welcome in, man.
Thank you, man. All right, it's really good to be here and hang out with you guys for a couple of days.
Yeah.
We're about performance, man. About looking cool on the gram, right?
Yeah. Jacob Grey Firearms.
That's it.
So you guys are down here for the Jacob Grey experience. We're doing this class, and people have heard about our experience. This one, you've got Jacob Grey TWC-9, double stack 9.
TWC black.
Oh, black.
Yep. No, you're good.
But it's a 9.
Yeah, it is.
You have a Trijicon optic on top. You've got the Shell Tech ammo.
Yeah.
And black point holsters.
Man, when you and I first talked about this class, we were a little bit concerned about the price point, right? Because it was $3,500 for somebody to get into this, and that's up there. But when you think about the value that these guys are getting, right? $3,000 gun, $600 or $700 optic, couple $100 in holsters, $300-400 in ammunition, and you can't really put a price on the training that they're getting with Chris, right? Like, it actually turned out to be a really great value, and we saw that when we sold out the class in 10 days or something crazy like that.
Yeah, I mean, in a matter of days. We had one of the students this morning, they were kind of going around making the introductions,
right?
And he's like, I love coming to training. I've been here. They do a great job. I am here because I wanted this gun, and they're hard to get. I mean, you guys are kind of a bespoke boutique shop.
Yeah, it's a good way to explain it.
Cranking it out.
Yeah, I can elaborate on that a little bit. I mean, we're not Ruger or Smith & Wesson, right? We're not building tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of guns every year. Now, we're not making an insignificant amount of firearms either, right? In the 2011 space, there's really, you got Staccato, that's the big dog, or the double stack 1911 space, as we need to call it. You got Staccato that's making 40,000 guns a year. And then you've got a bunch of little guys that are making 2,000 guns a year, 1,500 guns a year. Jacob Grey's kind of right there in that messy middle, right? Okay. We're making high quality guns and make enough of them that they're available through the traditional go-to-market strategy, right? You can find them at dealers, you can find them through distribution, but they're not going to be at every gun shop in America, right?
And the double stack 1911, we were kind of chuckling about it this morning because, okay, everybody knows 1911s, the old Colt 45, and now we've got modern 1911s that shoot great, and now we've went into 9mm 1911s, probably outsell 45s, maybe. I'm just guessing. And now it feels like in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, those double stack 1911s are very popular. They're not new.
No,
I think Para Ordnance was the first one back 25 years ago.
STI was doing it forever too. Yeah, it's not a new thing.
But it's they're higher end.
They are.
There's not like cheap double stack 1911s really
this
compared to other pistols.
That's a good point. I mean, you look kind of at the bottom, the kind of the entry price is between $1,000 and $1,500 to get into a 1911. Whereas like we've made a lot of comparisons to the modern sporting rifle world and the explosion of that space. You look at that and you can get into an AR for $300-400 these days, and it won't be terrible, but it won't be great either. Right. But with double stack 1911s, that kind of bottom starts a little bit higher. Right. I think it's neat for people to get into this, interested in this platform. It's kind of cool in that there's a whole ecosystem of accessories around the space. And I think that's what intrigues people. And Ergonomically, they're a great gun to use. They're fun to shoot. They're easy to learn to shoot well, as we're seeing out here with some of these guys.
I got a question. I just thought of this. Do you think, because we know people who are shooters, they appreciate it because it's a heavier gun. It's all metal.
Yep.
It has a very nice trigger, and because it's heavier, a little bit less felt recoil. Do you think that this would be a good or not good, and I don't know the answer, gun to teach someone on?
That is a good question.
I could argue it both ways.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, it would be a good gun to train somebody on because they're going to have pretty good success early on.
They just need to know that you have a thumb safety. You have to learn how to run that.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a lighter trigger, not like a scary light trigger, but it's going to be a lighter trigger than maybe a long, heavy trigger pull on something else.
Yeah. I guess the fine motor skills involved in shooting a double stack 1911 is a little bit higher skill than if you were to put a Glock or some other striker fired pistol in their hand. But
it's certainly a whole lot easier than shooting a little bitty gun. You hand an LCP, a pocket gun, to a new shooter, even though it's 380 ACP. That's not an easy gun to shoot.
They're not.
A J-frame revolver, not at all easy to shoot. I love them, but they're not necessarily a beginner's gun. Even one of those popular small carry guns, the HKCC-9 or a 365, those are small guns, and they're not. It's not that they're hard to shoot, but
it's harder to shoot with them well.
Yeah,
right. But
if you give someone a full-size gun, and I think the look of it will be like, whoa, this is a big gun, holds lots of ammo. If you're new to this. But with a little supervision, it's a fun, comfortable gun to shoot.
Absolutely. Yeah. What did one of the guys say out on the range today? I think you can buy a little bit of performance, right?
Yeah, that's one of our instructors, Taylor. He's like, okay, maybe you can buy performance.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like we kept saying, this is a race car. This is a Ferrari. This is a tuned machine.
100%.
It's not a Camry.
It's not. It's not a Toyota Camry. They're both cars, right? Then we said that analogy earlier today. Going back to what you were talking about with the little guns being difficult to shoot, I wouldn't really ever want to train somebody on a little gun to start with. You know what I mean? You hear a lot of guys get introduce females or young children into the industry with 22s, and I think that's great because it's lower recoil.
It is a good place to start.
It's a good place to start, but the double stack's not a bad place either. Like we talked about, fun guns to shoot, highly accurate. You can be successful right out of the gate. It's just teaching people the ergonomics of working that manual safety and learning how to engage with a trigger. One
thing I would say, perhaps, since we're talking about this as a hand this gun to a beginner and teach them with it, the one thing that could be a drawback, if a beginner is a younger person or a woman with smaller hands, the grip is bigger. 100%. It's a double stack.
Yep. You'd actually be surprised, Ryan. The Jacob Grey double stack 1911 is the same width as a traditional 1911 with grip panels.
Really?
Because we were able to manufacture that aluminum, that grip out of aluminum, we've got a little bit, we can get a little thinner, have a little bit thinner walls. If you're talking about something like this, the Springfield Prodigy or the Staccato XC, those are injection molded plastic grips. They are a little bit thicker because they do need additional wall thickness to give it structural integrity. So it still is bigger than a little, what are we talking about, a 365 or something like that, right?
Sure.
But they're not unyieldy at all.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't realize the difference there.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads me into, you were talking about how you guys approach this, because yes, there are the double stack 1911s that are incredibly nice but also really expensive. We're talking $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for a handgun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys kind of, like you said, sort of fall in this middle part, but there's the way you go about it with manufacturing is interesting. Yeah, it's a little bit different approach. Like you just spoke to, we kind of occupied that messy middle, right? Like you could get into a double stack for $1,000 to $1,500. And it'll be a fair gun, but you're going to have some forged parts, some metal injection molded parts that are somewhat commodity items, right? Then you'll go to the super high end of that market, like we talked about, the Atlas of the world, the Infinities, and these are $5,000, $6,000, $7,000,
$9,000 guns, right?
Yeah.
And what you're paying for there is some gunsmith's time to sit at a table for 20 hours, 40 hours.
Do you know Jason Burton?
No, I don't know that name.
He's a true bespoke gun maker guy out in Arizona, makes very, very, very nice 1911s. And he's got this long wait list. I think he only makes maybe 30 or 40 guns a year.
Right. Yeah.
And they're expensive. I mean, it's like an $8,000 1911.
Yeah.
And I asked him one time, so how do you make an $8,000 1911? He said, you just polish it until it's $8,000.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly
it's just time.
You're paying for somebody's time, right? So, our approach is a little bit different. I don't want to spend all that labor and time at the bench with a guy that has 20 years experience putting together guns. We have experienced armorers, but I need them taking parts that are well made that go together easily. So we made a really significant investment on the front end with really high-end CNC equipment.
Okay,
that when the
high-tech machinery.
High-tech machinery. So I think that our background is in aerospace, and making aerospace parts, the tolerancing is unbelievably tight.
Right.
So when I go to that same group of machinists and say, hey guys, for this gun to, I won't say slap together, but to go together quickly, I need you to hold 0.3 of 1/1000 of an inch on this diameter. No problem.
They're like,
That's easy.
That's it? Yeah.
Whereas I've worked at other firearms manufacturers, and plus or minus 5 is hard, right?
Right.
So doing the work on the front end, buying the right equipment, doing the engineering and the tolerance stack up on the front end translates to less time on the bench that a guy has to spend 20, 30 hours putting the gun together. For us, if a gun takes longer than 45 minutes to put together, something's wrong, right?
Wow.
So
just you're making the parts so there's not a lot of fitment stuff.
Correct. The great thing about that also is you break something on your gun, however, 4 months from now, you can call us and we can send you a part and you drop it in. Whereas you buy one of these bespoke one-off guns, that part that you broke was unique and fit to that
that
firearm.
Was Ed.
Yeah, Ed made
did
that one.
Yeah.
So a little bit different thought process and how we do it. It's still expensive. That equipment that I talked about is not cheap, right?
Sure.
We made a significant investment in that equipment. But the equipment doesn't call in sick. The equipment doesn't complain or not show up to work. Doesn't have health insurance. You know what I mean? So from a business standpoint, it's easier for me to invest in that equipment that runs all the time. Now, I know that may be crass to say. It's not that we don't love and respect our employees. We do.
Sure.
But the equipment, it's just moving the money. We're moving the money around inside the business for the cost of goods that goes into the gun.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's neat to see you guys making such a high-end product in a high-tech way, an efficient way.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'd love to get you down to see the factory sometime and just see what goes into making these gun parts. It's
made in South Carolina, right?
Made in South Carolina, yeah, in a little town called Prosperity. It's right by Newberry College.
Okay.
A little Christian college there. Finding employees is a challenge in a rural South Carolina area. But we've got a good team right now and really happy with what we've been doing. I mean, we've got a back order. We're selling more guns than we can make. And every consumer that we've put guns in their hands have seemed to be happy with it. So it's a good place to be right now.
It leads to a back order, yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
All right.
New from Vortex, it's the Viper Shotgun Enclosed Micro Red Dot. Purpose-built for the fast pace of turkey hunting and wing shooting, the Viper Shotgun Enclosed Micro Red Dot delivers an ultra-low profile design and wide field of view for intuitive shooting and superior recoil control. Its enclosed design and integrated universal mount ensures seamless operation and maximum protection against the elements. You can even use it on other things like a lever gun or a tactical shotgun. Check it out from Vortex, the Vortex Viper Shotgun Enclosed Micro Red Dot. Meet the Smith & Wesson CSX E-Series, because apparently Smith & Wesson took one look at their already great CSX pistol and said, yeah, we can do even better. The new E-Series trigger, crisp, clean, smoother than your grandpa's whiskey. And of course, it's optics ready with a clear sight cut so your fancy red dot won't get blasted with carbon like a neglected grill. With 9mm power, up to 17 rounds, and all the upgrades you never knew you needed, the CSX E-Series isn't just an evolution, it's proof that Smith & Wesson refuses to take a day off. Ever wanted to train at a top-tier shooting facility that used to be a slaughterhouse? Well, dreams do come true. Welcome to Range Ready Training, the home of Gun Talk Media, where we turned an abandoned meat processing plant into one of the best firearm training facilities in the country. Led by Chris Serino, Range Ready offers pistol, rifle, women's only, force on force, and instructor development courses. Whether you're a newbie, a pro, or that guy who thinks watching YouTube makes you an expert, we've got a class for you. So if you're serious about getting better, training smarter, and maybe experiencing a little Louisiana charm along the way, come check out Range Ready Training. You ever wrestle with a scope ring screw like it owes you money? Over tighten, and you're in a world of hurt. Under tighten, and good luck holding zero. Well, enter the Wheeler Fat Wrench Auto Torque, the first battery-powered screwdriver with an integrated torque limiter. Set your torque from 10 to 65 inch-pounds, pull the trigger, and let the 200 RPM motor do the work. When it hits your number, it stops automatically. Get more precise installs for your red dots, scope bases, and action screws. Get your hands on the Fat Wrench Auto Torque. Ruger and Magpul walked into a bar and somehow, instead of starting a fight, they built a handgun masterpiece, the Ruger RXM. This American-made pistol is everything you want: exceptional ergonomics, upgraded features, and a price tag that won't require selling a kidney. Bottom line, the RXM is built for you, your budget, and your obsession with tweaking your gun until it's just right. So go ahead and make it yours. Ruger and Magpul already did the hard part. So Jay, you've been in the industry for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually didn't know all of your background, even going back to Knights Armament.
Yeah, Knights Armament was my first job in the industry. I was going to college back home in Vero Beach, Florida. Mm-hmm. I was playing in a Wednesday afternoon beer golf league, right? And just started chatting it up with one of the guys that was in my foursome, and it turned out he was an electro-optical engineer at Knights Armament Company back in 2002, right?
Okay.
Dating myself a little bit here, but if you remember, Knights had the Knights scope. Remember that old thing?
What's funny is the Knights Armament thing to me, I feel somewhat a little bit ignorant on, because it feels like this company you hear about and like nobody owns their stuff.
No, it's hard to come
they're
by.
Like bigger than people perhaps realize, because they're not in like the gun magazines.
No, they don't. I mean, to them, the commercial,
mostly like defense
stuff. Yeah, military,
Army,
foreign militaries, SOCOM development projects. I mean, really cool stuff.
Skunk work.
I mean,
the
thing that made Knights their mint of money was the original RAS contract, the rail adapter system. So every M4 in inventory at one point had a Knights Armament rail system on it. And Knights build every one of them, and millions of those rails, I assume, at a couple $100 a piece. So they've made great money. They also had the M110 contract with the Army for a number of years. They're a neat company, really neat company. I worked there for about 2 years, right out of college, and just learned a lot. Right, like I worked for a guy named Colonel David Lutz. If you hear this, dude, you're kind of my godfather in the industry. Anyways,
you're to blame.
Yeah. Colonel Lutz, brilliant guy, had been at Knights for a long time. He was in the Marine Corps prior to that as a program manager, and just really took me under his wing and taught me a lot. Through that time, that's when I had met Marty Daniel, and then transitioned to work for Marty, and was the first employee at Daniel Defense, and worked there for about a decade, and then just been in the industry ever since, man. So I feel, really blessed that if I hadn't been put in that foursome on that Wednesday beer golf league, I never would have met Tony, never would have got the job. So it's like life is full of coincidences. And
what a path.
Yeah, it's neat. It's neat.
My wife has tried to teach me that it's not coincidences all the time. It's God's plan.
Absolutely.
And I think guys are that, women are more of like, wow, that, God had a part in that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just our personality. I'm like, I'm kind of just, oh, wow, that's a weird coincidence. She's like, Ryan, that was a higher power.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't, Marty used to always have a saying, too many coincidences aren't a coincidence anymore. It's somebody else's plan. Right. And it was like, that resonates with you, man.
That's
it's
cool.
like, well, it's the same way with the way I came to work for Jacob Grey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like a buddy in the industry that I had known for a long time, just called me out of the blue and, what are you doing? And pitched me on Jacob Grey. And I'm like, hey, sounds kind of cool, kind of
Mm-hmm.
ground floor. Let's get in there. And I've been there about 2.5 years, and it's been fun. And
it's interesting. The gun industry, I try to tell people this. It's like it's a pretty cool industry. People don't tend to leave it.
No,
they may move around to different companies or whatever, and they could, right? You could go work for a different industry in a different field or whatever. But how do you explain that to people who are like, "What's up with this gun industry thing?" Because it seems like
I don't know
these people that you work with, and then you become friends with these people more so than you would perhaps in other places.
Yeah, it is interesting. I'd never. I mean, the only other job I had outside the industry was in the Army, so that's a little different. But I get exactly what you're saying. Like, some of the relationships that you build inside this industry are brothers, you know, and it's just people that you're always going to look out for them. I think it could be that we're all kind of in pursuit of the same goal, right? We've all got a deep passion for the shooting sports and the Second Amendment, and then we feel like what we do as an industry as a whole lifts everybody up. And so there's not a ton of, and maybe you can speak to this, I don't ever see it, even amongst media organizations or manufacturers, there's not a ton of combativeness against one another, right? It's like there's enough pie out there for all of us to make a good living.
I think that they compete business-wise as you try to.
I want to win,
anything, right? But there is a shared vision and kind of a shared values.
Yeah.
Of gun rights, generally freedom-loving people. I love that when we're at events, we say everyone stands up and says the Pledge of Allegiance. They say a prayer. They'll sing the national anthem, all that type of stuff. And so you do end up kind of with shared values. And probably, if that's not your values, I guess those are the ones perhaps who don't stick around.
Yeah.
But I think that, and you have, it's funny too, because what do we do for fun?
Shoot.
We shoot and we hunt. It's like, there's not a lot of golfers. Although I like golf, and we were just talking about golf, but it's like, we're going to do a business deal. We need to invite some clients on a thing. They go take guns and they go hunting.
Yeah.
We're going to go shooting.
Well, it's cool, man. And what an opportunity for us to be able to work in something that you're passionate about, right? Like I couldn't imagine if I'd sold vinyl siding or did marketing for roofing nails or something, right? It's like, how miserable would that be? And maybe you'd find passion in it in some other way, but it's like, this is just awesome that we get to market, talk about, sell these cool things that you have an affinity for. It's neat.
Yeah. And most people, when you tell them what you do, they're like, what?
Yeah.
You get to do that for work?
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's actually hilarious. Went over to my neighbor's house yesterday, and not yesterday, it was Thursday or something. They're kind of having a little picnic outside, and I'm just shooting the shit with one of the guys, and said, yeah, I'm headed to Louisiana tomorrow to do this thing. And he's like, man, I got a buddy that does that. He works for a company and he shoots this, that, and the other. And he's like, I can't believe he gets to do that for a job. And I'm like, well, who are you talking about? He's like, he's really tall and his name's Adam. I'm like, oh yeah, I know him. I see him all the time, And it's like, it's funny that our industry is that incestuous. And there's the guy that doesn't, he knows me, but doesn't really know me, is bragging about his buddy that gets to do the things that we get to do.
Yeah.
It's neat. It's neat.
Yeah. So I wanted to go back because one of the things I love about running these classes and doing experiences is you get all sorts of different shooters, and you really get to run these guns and the optics and the ammo and all that stuff. And we're burning through thousands of rounds of ammo, and it's a great test of the equipment. It's also a great test of like shooters shooting and what are they doing wrong or right and all this stuff. You were talking about, and maybe it's a little education for people of like the double stack 1911s, because we do compare them to a race car. There actually is maybe some tuning.
Yeah, a little bit.
That can happen. You can take your gun out of the box and go shoot it.
100%.
But you can also tune it up depending on the ammo, depending on what you're trying to do with it.
I want to go back and just remind us to come back to that, because I want to speak to one thing you said about the diverse group of people that's here. Right? I think in this class we have a heart surgeon and a retired truck driver, and everybody in between, all walks of life. For me, as a marketer and business guy, it is so invaluable to hear the feedback directly out of that customer's mouth about his experience with my product. I could never do that with a round table or pay some marketing firm to do a net promoter score study for me. It's like I'm getting a ton of value out of just listening to these dudes. So anyways, that's just so cool. And I wish we could do more stuff like that, to have direct engagement with the consumer about how they feel about our product. And then going back to the tuning, I mean, the 2011 Space, the double stack 1911, they're great guns and able to be run right out of the box. But it's just like anything else. If you decide, hey, I'm only going to run it with this particular ammo, and I want to have my trigger to 1.5 pounds or whatever, there's some tuning that you can do to adjust that gun to you, right? Going back to the golf analogy, right? It's like you can buy a set of Callaways off the shelf and they'll work great for you. Or what you could go get fit for a set of pings that'll really be dialed into the way you shoot and the ball you play and your club head speed. Same thing. It's like these guns are customizable enough that you can make it work for you and be your own, to fit your shooting style and the conditions you like to shoot in.
Well, and that's the good news. Like, you can do that. I mean, a lot of guns, you can take them out of the box and shoot them. You can't do a lot of tuning with them.
No. You can accessorize them and paint them or whatever else, but there's no, you're not going to take out your sear and stone it to make the trigger feel crisper or whatever, you know what I mean? And you can do that with these guns. I mean, and I think that's part of the fun of this platform, right? Is that you can do that, and you're immersed in the education of how to do it, right? That's why I think that when guys catch the long range shooting bug, they do the same thing, right? Because they geek out on the math and the science of the long range shooting. And this is similar. It's just you're geeking out on the engineering side of it. Yeah.
You get to be the gunsmith, and it's a platform. The 1911 is a platform that's friendly to that. I mean,
it is.
You can school yourself up a little bit and be able to work on it. What are some frequently asked questions you guys get all the time? Maybe specific to the platform or particular to the company. I would think one of those would be maintenance, wear and tear. They were kind of talking about this morning of like, what am I supposed to do round count wise, break-in period?
The biggest question that we get is right now, and I think it's because red dots are so hot, it's what red dot works with this gun, right? That one's a big one we get a lot. Other questions, like you said, about general maintenance, right? We've got some instructions in the manual, and then also some videos on our website that teach people just how to field strip the gun. Sorry.
That's right. Yeah.
And how to field strip. Jesus. We good?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Good.
All right. How to field strip the gun, and then going back to some of those questions about springs and life and things like that. There's not anything other than just those kind of general questions that people have that stand out to me.
Okay. What about, anything that's specific that they should or shouldn't do lubrication wise, or just kind of looking for pro tips, people listening who are like, I've got a 1911 or I've never owned one of those double stack 1911s. Is it high maintenance?
They're not high maintenance. And the thing I would say, any gun owner, shoot your gun, train.
It's the best thing you can do. It's like guns and boats, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Leave your boat sitting in the garage for 6 years. Guess what? It's not going to start.
Absolutely. Regular use will help keep your gun in good working order. Taking care of it, cleaning it. You don't have to be this super anal person about it. Well, every time I shoot 100 rounds, I've got to take this gun apart and clean it, right? It's like, doesn't require.
I'm going to just throw that out to my buddy Kevin. You don't have to. Yeah, I'm talking to you, buddy. You don't have to take it apart every time.
No, you don't. It's fun. If you like to do that, have fun. If that's your therapy, to take your gun apart and rub some oil on it, have at it, right? It's not required, though.
Okay.
Other pro tips. Train. I mentioned you should train.
You should probably train, get some trigger time.
Yeah.
And I think people think that I talk about training often because we run classes. And I'm like, no, go anywhere. Go with anybody. Go train. But we want people who are not just gun owners, but are proficient with their gun, right?
It's a perishable skill, right? If you didn't drive every day, right, and then you go and jump and try to run an Indy race or something, you're not going to be great, right? It's the same thing with golf or baseball or any of these sports that require both gross motor skills and fine motor skills. You got to use it or lose it. Dry fire as much as you can, understand how your trigger finger works, get the gun in your hand as much as you can, and shoot as much as you can. Yeah. You get out and shoot it, and then you'll figure out what you need to do to take care of that gun.
Yeah. You guys are on a back order. You guys are, perhaps you're not a huge company, so perhaps for somebody listening to this, they may go, how do I see one? How do I touch one? Do you guys go to shows like NRA show?
Yeah,
and stuff
we'll
like
be
that?
at the NRA convention, and whatever that is, that's sneaking up on us,
Atlanta.
Isn't it?
End of Atlanta, end of April, everybody, in Atlanta, the NRA annual convention.
Yep.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be my 23rd NRA meeting, something like that.
Yeah.
So, NRA, great event. The expo is cool. It's another great opportunity to engage with consumers, right? Because it's like wherever they move that show around every year. And so it's like you get this little section of the shooter that shows up, right?
Right.
I think it was in Indy a couple of years ago.
Right.
Just really cool to get exposed to those
it's a little bit different too, like depending on where you are in the country, of what people are doing with their guns,
100%.
What type of hunting, what type of shooting.
Oh yeah. We went out west, not way out west, but Midwest a couple of years ago. I don't remember where it was, and the guys, come up talking about mule deer hunting, and then in Atlanta, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of defensive pistol shooting guys, guys that are into concealed carry. Sure, there'll be some hunters, but it's interesting. It's a good cross section of our industry. And supports a good effort that the NRA is after.
Yeah, so. And there's some good new things happening with the NRA. So if you haven't noticed yet, I know that we've been talking about it on the radio show, but there's new people coming into the board. So
it's been through a tumultuous time here the last few years, and it's like any other organization. After some time, you've got to wash out the folks that aren't in pursuit of the goals of the organization, and find people who do support what we're trying to do. It'll be a good show. I'm excited for it. Yeah. So going back to your question, where do they see you, Jacob Grey? So we'll be at the NRA show. If you're within a couple hours of Atlanta, come see us. Yeah. We do have a dealer network across the country, a couple hundred dealers, not a bunch. Give us a call. Let us know where you are. We'll say, hey, I've got a guy wherever. Sure. We've got a dealer locator that I'm working on for the website as well that'll point people to where you can see them. Do your homework. Get out on YouTube. See what people are saying about us.
Yeah, because people are talking about you guys.
Yeah.
Just search Jacob Grey Firearms. You'll find stuff.
Yeah, you will. That's the fun part of the job, is working with media and being able to expose them to a brand. And I've known a lot of these media creators for a long time, and they trust and respect my opinion, and I haven't steered them wrong yet with a product. So this one's good and they like it. How else can you see a Jacob Grey? We do sell a little bit through distribution too, Sports South and RSR. So if you're familiar with
so like a gun store, if they were listening to this and said, "Man, maybe we should get one of those in," they could call those places.
Absolutely, and we've done something pretty unique here with Sports South in the last month or so. We did what we call in the industry an SMU, a special makeup. So we've got a special gun through Sports South that's an exclusive. It's called the TWC Elite. Little bit different flavor than what we've got here at the class, and that one's doing pretty well. So
what's on it? What's the deal? How's it different?
You got to call Sports South. No, it's very similar to the black. It's got a little bit different paint job, a little bit different stempling, couple different components, but cool entry level 2011.
Awesome. Yep. Okay, that's great to know. Well, you guys, I hope we've wet your whistle a little bit with the double stack 1911 talk. Jacob Grey Firearms, Jay Duncan. That's it for us. We will see you next time on Gun Talk Nation.